It's been 11 years since the September 11th terror attacks, and today, as we do every year, we're honoring the heroes and remembering those who were lost.
President Obama marked the solemn anniversary in the nation's capital, stopping with the First Lady at Arlington National Cemetery to pay tribute to those lost in Iraq and Afghanistan. Later in the day, the president, along with several military officials, talked about the attacks and their effects on the nation.
This is never an easy day, but it is especially difficult for all of you. The families of nearly 3,000 innocents who lost their lives.
We've heard hundreds of survival stories in the months and years following 9/11.
That's right. One of those survivors, a retired New York City firefighter who was there on that awful day, is sharing his story with us. Our Jana Barnello has that story.
8:46 a.m., September 11th, 2001.
I hear that a plane struck the North Tower. I hear it on the fire department radio.
Like so many first responders, firefighter Mickey Cross rushed to the North Tower.
So we got down there, and then I saw the gigantic hole once we got down there. And just as we arrived, the second plane hit.
But he never imagined he'd be inside when it fell, less than 2 hours later.
I was ordered to the 23rd floor. We went up the stairs, walked up, carrying all our equipment. We got to the 23rd. To make a long story short, we were ordered to evacuate. I got down to about the second or third floor, and the building came down on me. Right where I was, the forces, instead of coming straight down, they went out to the side, and that's why I'm here.
Cross and a dozen others were trapped for 3 hours.
We found an opening. We found a little tiny opening. Came upon my captain, actually, and what he said to me, he went like this when he saw me. He goes, "Mickey, you're alive?"
Cross is alive and well and visited Freeport's 9/11 memorial this weekend, where 2 beams from the tower stand in the World Trade Center Artifact Garden.
11 years later, still in front of the very steel that probably fell on top of me. Isn't that odd? I think about that.
And he manages to smile, happy to be here, but always thinking about the men and women who didn't make it out.
I guess I'm just a very lucky guy, you know. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of very good friends that day.
And it's friends who've helped Cross heal, a bond between firefighters.
That's why I'm here.
So we never forget 9/11. In Freeport, Jana Barnello, News 13.
Mickey Cross had a lot more to say. You can watch our entire interview with the 9/11 first responder by going to our website, WGME.com, and clicking on Raw News. A Maine family lost 2 relatives, a brother and a sister, who both died in the World Trade Center.
At ceremonies in Lewiston and Auburn, they and all the victims were remembered, and our Brad Rogers has that story.
11 years ago, New York City was the first target of the terrorists. This is a piece of steel from the World Trade Center. Today, people in Auburn and Lewiston remembered 9/11. It was a day Americans will never forget, a day with a staggering loss of life. Of the nearly 3,000 people who lost their lives on 9/11, most died in the 2 towers of the World Trade Center. Hearts sank in the Auburn fire station when the first tower collapsed.
It was a tough thing to see, and because you knew that these guys were it wasn't a good thing.
343 New York City firefighters lost their lives when the 2 towers fell. Lieutenant John Shart, who had family in Maine, was one of them.
They never found his remains. All they found was his hat and his number.
Jody Warren came to Lewiston's ceremony to see the photo of her uncle. John Shart was her mother's youngest brother. What's worse, Jody's Aunt Ruth, who was John's sister, also died in the World Trade Center.
She was a banker on the Tower 1, 97th floor. The plane hit right on the 97th floor, Tower 1. She must have died instantly. We never found her. They never found her remains or anything. So she's one of the 3,000 that died there. She was 6 months pregnant. She didn't even have a chance.
Jody Warren says her aunt and uncle were loving, kind, happy. And she says Osama bin Laden's death is of no comfort.
They're never going to come back, even though we got him. It's hard. I mean, we're always going to miss them, both of them. They're looking down, both him and her. They're up there looking down, watching over us.
3 Maine women from Freeport are making it their mission to keep those who lost their lives in those twin towers in the hearts and minds of their community.
Yeah, they do it rain or shine, week after week, year after year, and today the Flag Ladies of Freeport once again brought patriotism to the streets of Freeport. Horns honked as soon as the ladies hit Main Street this morning. For 1 hour, the Flag Ladies of Freeport stood there shoulder to shoulder with members of the community, holding the stars and stripes on high.
They called each hello and each honk a bit of hope as they saluted and remembered lives lost on 9/11 and in Iraq and Afghanistan, a message they say is especially important today.
The families need to know that we haven't forgotten, that we do care what happened and whatnot, and we're here to celebrate the lives of the loved ones.
They need to know that we don't forget. They need to know we'll do all what we can to show them how grateful we are for how much they gave.
The Freeport Flag Ladies are continuing their patriotic mission with a special candlelight ceremony to be held Friday night right there along Main Street in Freeport in honor of those lost on 9/11 and in Iraq and Afghanistan. It starts at 7 o'clock on Main Street in Freeport. Coming up a little later in this newscast, we'll learn how a group from Maine is hoping you will use today as a day to help pay it forward.
I want to turn to a developing story now, the discovery of Eastern equine encephalitis, better known as Triple E, in some birds in Lebanon.
Yeah, the first official discovery of the potentially dangerous virus in Maine this year. No known human cases yet, but the discovery is of concern, especially so soon after the discovery of West Nile virus in mosquitoes in the same area.
News 13 Steve Roldan is following the story for us. He joins us now live with the discovery and what it means to you. Steve.
Well, town officials are really urging people to limit their time in outdoor wooded areas like this one and near bodies of water like that one that are typical breeding grounds for mosquitoes. They say not only the mosquitoes in this part of the state carrying the West Nile virus, but also the Triple E virus.
Be aware and stay alert.
That's the warning for people living in and around the town of Lebanon, where as many as 30 pheasants have died from the rare but serious viral disease Eastern equine encephalitis, better known as Triple E. Much like West Nile, it is spread by mosquitoes and can affect humans and horses.
Just spray myself when I mow the lawn and stuff like that. That's about it.
People like Viola Lamontagne of Lebanon doing what they can to avoid the sting of an infected mosquito. So far, no human cases have been reported in Maine, but it was reported in birds and horses back in 2009. And town officials hoping a late arrival this year will quickly end the Triple E threat.
If it's going to happen, it's probably a good time to happen on 1st of September because we're into the cooler nights right now. You know, with the cooler temperatures, the insect activity and the mosquitoes and bugs and stuff are, you know, going to be limited. So, I mean, you know, it could have had a different type of effect if it happened in late April or the 1st of May.
Just a few more cold nights and it'll probably go away.
The health officials say a simple thing as a bottle of bug spray can go a long way in protecting you and your family from the viruses. The good news is they say as we go into the latter part of this month, the colder nights mean we're getting closer to the time of periods when we start to see some of the frosty nights, and once we start to see some of the hard freezes out there, that'll kill off the mosquito population. That's the latest live here in the town of Lebanon. Steve Roldan, News 13. Kim, Greg, back to you.
All right, one reason to root for a hard freeze, I guess. Thanks, Steve.
Didn't think I had one, but I do.
Exactly. There's one at least. So what exactly is Triple E? Let's get over that again. It's a rare disease caused by a virus spread by infected mosquitoes, as Steve mentioned. Now, according to the CDC, there are only about 5 to 10 cases reported each year. The disease does start with headaches, high fever, chills, and vomiting. From there, it can progress into seizures, even coma, and 1/3 of those infected do die of Triple E. Many people who end up surviving end up with serious brain damage, but again, very rare. A former school bus driver from Maine and New Hampshire admits to a horrific crime. In court today, John Allen Wright pleaded guilty to sexually exploiting children on his bus. Wright used hidden cameras and glasses and pens to film child pornography on the bus. The 46-year-old Wright worked as a bus driver of special needs children. Federal prosecutors found videos showing Wright sexually assaulting children who were passengers on the bus, as well as thousands of child sexual assault images downloaded from the internet. Wright faces as much as 160 years in prison on these.
Now, your Weather Authority forecast with Charlie DePresti.
Welcome back, everyone. What a gorgeous evening underway. The sun is setting earlier and earlier now before 7 o'clock. I'm tracking plenty of sunshine this evening and again tomorrow, though. Let's take a look at that forecast. Sunny skies out there, courtesy of high pressure. We're looking at a nice satellite radar composite with just a few fair weather clouds drifting across the sky. Your normal high temperature for this date is 72 degrees. Today's high temperature at the Jetport was 72 degrees. How about that? Sunny skies out there again this evening with clear skies tonight. It's going to be another cool night. Let's take a look at your coastal forecast first for tomorrow. I expect highs in the mid-70s. Today we had low 70s. We're going to tack on a few degrees each day. Our warm-up continues on Thursday when you're 80 degrees. Look for a weak sea breeze on Friday. That should keep us in the upper 70s, but inland towns away from that ocean influence, you will be a little bit warmer. Mid to upper 70s tomorrow, low to mid 80s on Thursday and low to mid 80s on Friday. So summer returns around here late week. There will be a few showers and even a period of steady rain possible for part of the weekend. We'll get to that in a 7-day in a moment. Temps this evening are running the 70s again, 60s, 70s for highs today. 64 for a current temperature in Portland. Wiscasset, you're in the 60s. 68 now for you in Augusta. Up on Mount Washington last night, they were at 30 degrees, and this is what happens when they're in the clouds and you're looking at temperatures below freezing. A little icing occurring at the Mount Washington Observatory. That is a weather observer trying to knock the ice off the weather instruments up there. I guess a sign of things to come. I have to thank the folks at the Mount Washington Observatory for sharing that photo with us. Clear skies in place, courtesy of high pressure. As that slides offshore, we're going to see our wind turn over to the southwest. Right now we have a light northwesterly wind at times today. As soon as that wind shifts over to the southwest, that will begin our warm-up. So I expect temps to warm tomorrow in the mid-70s. Again, 80s return for Thursday and Friday. Storm Tracker paints this rather nicely. We'll start off tomorrow morning on another cool note. Don't forget to close the windows tonight. Overnight lows tonight will bottom out in the 40s. You'll wake up to some 30s in the mountains. This is 7 o'clock in the morning. Notice the lack of clouds, though. It's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow. Sunny skies will warm us into the 70s. If that's not warm enough for you, just wait until Thursday. Thursday will stop this around 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 1:30. Highs around 80 at the coast, low to mid 80s for many inland towns. There will be a feeble sea breeze that develops not only Thursday but Friday as well. Thanks to that sea breeze, we're going to keep temps now in the upper 70s on Friday, while many inland areas again warm into the 80s. Note a weak front approaching up near the Canadian border. Greatest chance for a shower or thunderstorm Friday will be in the mountains. There will be more rain moving in over the weekend. However, I don't think it's a big storm. Sun to increasing clouds on Saturday. The wet weather holds off until Saturday night, and some showers may linger into Sunday. That's my best estimate of how the weekend is going to shape up. We'll clear things out again Monday and Tuesday with temps returning to more seasonable levels. Difference between coastal areas and inland areas late week will be in the temperature setup. Away from a sea breeze, I expect highs in the low to mid 80s. How does that sound for September?
I'm loving it.
Near perfect mid-September weather.
Above normal temps, no complaints for me.
We'll take it, but the humidity will increase just a little bit.
Oh, there's something to complain.
It's okay, Charlie.
All right.
Because pretty soon it's going to be January.